Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody, to Purple A's podcast. I am your host who bleeds purple and gold, Isaac. So, I was gonna, talk about the quarterbacks that the Vikings should draft and not draft in the 24 draft in April. But I'm actually gonna go a different direction, because after the wild card, it just really got me thinking. The Lions and the Packers, as the Packers did embarrass the Dallas Cowboys, and the Detroit Lions got the win against the Rams. And so basically that got me to basically where, the Vikings can definitely learn something from those two teams, even though, yes, there are rivals, and I don't really care for them really or respect them, but you know what? Here's the deal, though, I'm going to go with here as the Vikings and where they stand as far as I'm concerned. First off, we're going to go with, the head coaching aspect of both of those, of the Lions and the Packers compared to the Vikings. The Lions, with Dan Campbell, he's in all of those, all three, mind you, also all three of these coaches that I'm going to mention are offensive-minded head coaches. Dan Campbell from the Detroit Lions, he basically has delegated his playoff offensive duties to the OC of the Lions, Ben Johnson, and I'd say he's doing a fairly well job, and you can tell Dan Campbell did not want to do it, so he delegated over it to him. So, but look at where that's gotten them to. And so, Dan Campbell is just an overseer. He's just delegating his strengths to and his weaknesses very, very well. As of Matt LaFleur, also an offensive-minded guy, he's calling plays himself, basically, and doing all the schemes because he is good at it, and he knows how to do it. And so, when you look at this way, I think maybe that very possibly what Kevin O'Connell does is he's calling offensive plays, and look what they're... And that hasn't really gotten them much of anywhere, really. And, it's just like, he hasn't delegated playoff, or I'm sorry, not playoffs. I'm not talking about that. We're not in the playoffs at all. Offensive duties, I should say, to an OC of a different kind, like maybe if it's Wes Phillips, or maybe, because there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with just giving up play calling to an OC and just being the eagle over the cliff and just watching, I think that's what Kevin O'Connell can do if it's working for Dan Campbell, because Kevin O'Connell's not good at play calling. Let's just call it what it is, but Dan Campbell is absolutely just... You can see it's working out for the team, and they won the division as a result. And also, let's go to the player development as far as I'm concerned. The player development between the Packers and the Lions. The Vikings, as of the 2022 draft, as far as contribution on a regular basis, basically, from what I've heard, there has been 3 throughout the I'm talking about the 22 draft and the 23 draft. That's 3 from I believe Ed Ingram, Ty Chandler, and Ivan Pace Jr. That's not that very much as far as I'm concerned. As from the Packers, 8 of them have contributed on a regular basis. And then you got the Lions, 5 of them. What's the combination, basically, from like Ty Chandler where we're just hell bent on just keeping Alexander Madison and that he's gonna do something. He hasn't really. He hasn't gotten a rushing touchdown, mind you. And I think basically Ty Chandler's just a better running back, and as of late we decided now we wanted to go Ty Chandler, and it still hasn't won us games. But that aside, also the quarterback position between the Packers and the Vikings. I mean, Jared Goff, he is who he is. I think he's not bad though, but they do got a long term with him. But right now, you got the Packers over the last 30 years. That is 30 years. As of like starting caliber quarterbacks the Packers had. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now possibly Jordan Love to be a long-term quarterback for the Packers. And so then you got the Vikings figuring out if Kirk Cousins should stay or not. We're just figuring that all out. Like, I don't think it is really rocket science. I think they should move on from Kirk Cousins, but I already made my P's and Q's about that because it's not really that hard, really. It's because it's just the mentally inconsistent, because the turning point of Kirk Cousins is in the wild card against the Giants where he checked it down on 4th and 8. That was the turning point of like, okay, we need a quarterback of our own from the draft. You know? It's just looking like the overall building blocks for like the Packers is that they have something to build upon, as that means long term they're going to be competitive. They're going to be a good team long term. As much as I hate to say it from our rivals, I really hate saying it, but they're building blocks. Like all the players that they drafted, that is a championship team. Really, it is. It's a championship team, what you call it. Where are the Vikings at? Like, I just want to know where the Vikings are at. Are they, because they should not be in rebuild mode, because we've been doing that for like the past years, and it's really just going in circles, really. But here's the thing, though, that the Vikings should not do, and basically just learn from them, you know? Build a act like a championship team, starting from the coach, starting from the players, starting from the GM, and maybe possibly from the Wilfs, too, as well. And so, if you start demanding like a championship team like they do, you're in a much better spot. I will accept that all the way, man. But right now, we've been doing this like dream team or bunch of dreamers type of crap, instead of just getting football players. You know, it's almost like compared to the Vikings and the Lions and the Packers. Let's say that I had my friends and got them all together and made an MLB team. And then going up against, like, let's say the Houston Astros or the Washington Nationals or the Dodgers, you're losing every single any other game if they contribute nothing in the MLB, in the professional league, by the way. That's what the owners, that's what everybody, I'm talking about everyone needs to do, is stop building like a bunch of like dreamers, you know? Just build a football team. It's not that hard, really. It ain't. And so that's basically what I think, you know, lessons they can learn is just build a championship team. Like, what do we got to lose? So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Skull.